Welcome everyone to Talk Wrestling here in high definition, of course on YouTube and the #1 wrestling website in the world, NoDQ.com. Today is another top five, and we'll get to more top fives in the weeks to come, but today's top five is the top 5 moments in the history of World Championship Wrestling. And I don't mean going back into the Jim Crockett days, into the 70s and beyond, whatever. I'm talking 1988 to 2001, those years of WCW. In no particular order, honestly, because they're all great. Goldberg defeating Hollywood Hulk Hogan on July 6th of 98 is definitely up there. That was their last great ratings hurrah with a live match. Yes, they had a great ratings boost the night after Halloween Havoc in 98. That's because they showed the main event from Halloween Havoc. They had to do something because the freaking feed went out. So what are they supposed to do? And they got a ratings boost, but that was the last time they ever won the war. Goldberg Hogan was their last huge hurrah on Nitro Live. That was their last attempt at recapturing the #1 spot. And they did for that night, and then that was it. Number 4, again, no order. The first Nitro. From top to bottom, great card overall, but the biggest moment of that Nitro, of course, was Lex Luger showing up, and immediately after working for the WWF, he showed up on Nitro like a week after, and nobody knew he was going to be there except Bischoff and Sting, and it was like, wow, this guy's fresh off WWF TV, and here he is, and he's on WCW. Does that mean WCW's better, or is it going to be better products? They won that night because they were unopposed, but the first meeting they won 2.5 to 2.2. I remember that very distinctly. So WCW had fired their first shot, and they won the first battle. So that was to set the tone. Another surprise unannounced show up was Scott Hall. The whole beginning of the NWO angle. Scott Hall walking down the crowd steps during the match, walking out, grabbing the mic from somebody, and just walking in the ring and saying, hey, you want a war? You got a war. Where's everybody else at? Let me fight them. Where's the big boys? Where's Nacho Man? Where's Huckster? Where's all those guys? Scheme Gene, Ken Doll Wannabe, all those guys. Weatherman, no, Ken Doll, you Weatherman Wannabe. That's what he called Bischoff. That's right. One of those moments that'd be like, wow, that's Razor frickin' Ramon. He's on the WCW show. What is he doing there? I just saw him on the WWE pay-per-view last week. What the hell's going on? Just, weird things were happening, and we saw it. I know my number 1 is. I forgot what my number 2 was. Let me think about it for a minute. Oh, that's right. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you for the woo back there. He didn't say it, but he mouthed it. Ric Flair's return on September 13th, I believe, 1998. Flair had been gone for 6 months almost, being sued by WCW and counter-suing. It was back and forth. The Horsemen tried to stay together. Flair ended up pretty much, he said this in his book, he caved in to the Horsemen saying, please come back, we need you. And they got it. I'm sorry, that was the last big ratings they won, I believe, that night was when Ric Flair came back in September 98. They, Schiavone compared it to the Mark McGuire home run. You always remember where you were. I remember distinctly being in front of my television that night in my bedroom at the mobile home where I used to live. That's how far back that moment goes. That's over 10 years ago. And watching Ric Flair come out in the suit and do the whole thing and getting teary-eyed and cutting the promo on Bischoff, it was awesome. The number 1 moment in WCW history, and I know I'm going to sound like a total mark and a total Hulkamaniac geek for this, okay? But it is what it is. Without this moment, there would have been no Monday Night War, there would have been no NWO, there would have been no anything without the signing of Hulk Hogan. Bischoff and Turner signing Hulk Hogan to WCW after being gone from WWF for a year changed the entire course of wrestling history. If it hadn't been for WCW getting Hulk Hogan, they would have gone under completely. There would have been no Monday Night War. I dare say there'd be no TNA today. I'll even dare say go further, there'd be no WWE as we know it today. It would be a vastly different product than we're seeing right now. Not saying good or bad, but there may not have been there probably would have been an attitude era to counteract WCW's winning and the rise of so many things happened because WCW went out and said, hey, we're going to spend buku friggin' dollars and sign Hulk Hogan, give him this much of this much of that, give him at the gate percentage of merchandise. Without Hulk Hogan, there would have been no WCW to fight the WWF in the mid-90s. That's the biggest moment in WCW history, in my opinion. Again, this show is my opinion. I only get 5 or 6 minutes to tell you my opinion. You guys have all the time in the world to type it out, whatever you want to say, send me a video response. What do you guys think? What's the biggest moment in WCW history? Let me know. I might even respond to it on video. We'll see you next time on Talk Wrestling.